Disguised as someone else, the CEO secretly stepped into his own bakery, unprepared to face the truths hidden behind the company's shiny display cases. As the warm corridors, filled with the smell of flour and hard work, blurred into the background, the whole world seemed to stop the moment he noticed an employee quietly crying in the back. In that instant, beyond the glittering reports and numbers, the silent cries of pain, the overlooked human stories, and the devalued hopes all echoed loudly. It was that very moment that wasn't just a pause for the CEO, it was a sign of the deep unrest growing in people's hearts and a call to rebuild the sense of belonging that had once defined the company. Daniel Rivers is the founder and CEO of Sweet Crust, a legendary bakery chain with 50 locations. There was a time when his passion burned brightly, and baking became the center of his life. In every store he wove a story of hope and love. The smell of fresh bread and the warmth coming from the bakery doors were a reflection of his vision, little miracles that touched people's daily lives. But as time went on, the company's growth led Daniel down a different path. At first, he would listen to his employees and really value their ideas and energy. However, over time, the ever-growing hierarchy and increasing responsibilities left him trapped within the cold walls of his office. Every day, as his desk filled up with paperwork and meetings seemed endless, the cheerful conversations and hopeful ideas that once echoed throughout his bakeries were replaced by a quiet, mechanical routine. Looking out the window of his office at the city lights, he started to miss that genuine touch his employees used to bring. Their voices, ideas, and energy now felt so far away, and under the weight of time and growth, Daniel began to feel alone. The vibrant spirit that was once at the heart of Sweet Crust now seemed like a faint dream locked away in the cold corners of his office. Now, memories of those warm, bygone days mixed with the soft evening light streaming through his window, playing a bittersweet melody in his ears and whispering the start of a new story waiting for hope. Daniel Rivers was on a quest to rediscover that lost part of himself, to find the inspiration in his employees' voices once again and revive the true spirit of Sweet Crust, because he knew that in every great leader's story, there's a hidden hope that brings lost voices back to life. Even though management was handing over brilliant reports like a bed of roses, the sudden ups and downs in employee turnover and the echo of customer complaints sparked deep doubts in Daniel's mind. He decided to risk everything, not to be fooled by the superficial success the reports showed, but to uncover the truth underneath. Amid all this uncertainty, Daniel began to question himself and took a bold step to redefine who he was. He said goodbye to the formal image he'd carried for years, cutting his hair short and dyeing his beard a daring color, almost like a symbol of a fresh start. This change wasn't just physical, it was a true reflection of his deep belief in honesty and the truth that lived in the depths of his heart. Driven by the desire to discover the real story hidden behind Sweet Crust's dazzling management reports, he even started working as an intern in his own bakery. Immersed in the smell of flour, the warm air of the ovens, and the genuine stories of the bread, he began witnessing firsthand the daily struggles shaped by his employees' hard work right on the front lines. With every step away from his old managerial role and into the worker's world, he felt both the thrill and the nervousness of getting closer to the company's heart. This genuine experience turned out to be more than just a task, it was a wake-up call for Daniel. His eyes started to see beyond the flashy numbers in the reports, noticing the concerns the employees voiced and the real issues behind customer complaints. Every caramelized slice of bread and every warm oven breeze reminded him of a forgotten melody belonging to the soul of the company, now blooming again in his heart. And in that moment, Daniel realized that true leadership isn't about the success shown in reports. It's about listening to the voices of the employees and connecting with their stories. At the branch, the manager Carla ruled over everyone with a dark, oppressive vibe, showing off a toxic style of leadership. She especially looked down on the younger employees, almost exploiting their hope and energy, constantly trying to make them feel worthless with every move they made. To reinforce her authority, Carla would shower them with criticisms, blow mistakes way out of proportion to break their spirits, and keep them under constant surveillance to maintain her control. At first, the young workers felt crushed under this pressure, but over time they began to notice the weakness and cowardice hiding behind Carla's cold management style. They saw that instead of showing any empathy, Carla only came off as an authoritarian figure. Every day, a silent resistance echoed in the office corridors as the younger employees secretly met up to support each other, sharing their hopes and ideals to try to overcome the pressure. With every criticism Carla threw their way, a spark of rebellion would ignite in them. With every condescending remark, their sense of solidarity grew stronger, and they started dreaming of a more fair and respectful work environment together. These quiet observations began to reveal the deep cracks within the company, lighting up a hope that not only could the young employees rebuild their own potential, but also the future of Sweet Crust. Carla's oppressive management style might have given her short-term control, but in the long run it was damaging the company's spirit and blocking the way for true leadership and teamwork. The young employees refused to be crushed by this toxic atmosphere and slowly began organizing to raise their voices. With each passing day their courage grew, and instead of living in Carla's shadow, they chose to move forward together toward a future filled with justice and freedom. And so, this dark period turned out to be the beginning of a transformation, because true strength is found in the resistance that sprouts under pressure and in the will to stick together. The branch under Carla's management would eventually be revived by the hopeful voices of the young employees, laying the foundation for a workplace where everyone respects each other and justice prevails. By the end of the day, Jamie was battling an indescribable exhaustion and a deep sadness that cut right into his soul. All day long, he tried to tuck away his tears in the storeroom as if they were a secret treasure. Every drop was a silent witness to the pain, weariness, and moments of hopelessness he had endured. The deep, fragile hope building in his eyes, hiding a vulnerability he never showed to anyone, was stirring up storms inside him. For Jamie, the storeroom wasn't just a hiding place. It felt like a temple where the pains of the past and present came together, holding the quiet traces of his suffering. In those moments, his heart beat slowly and his body, burdened by the weight of his hardships, seemed to melt away a little bit with every breath. As he stashed away his tears, he was really hoping to ignite a new spark of hope for himself, taking a step toward a fresh start amid the uncertainty of tomorrow. Each dawn, wishing to rise again after those dark moments, Jamie tried to gather the strength hidden behind his tears. In the quiet minutes spent in the storeroom as he collected his tired body and fragile spirit, he felt like he was preparing for a rebirth. He knew that every tear was a sign that one day he would transform into a stronger version of himself. Daniel could see the messy, deeply fractured side of the workplace in all its raw reality. The cracks in Jamie's hands weren't just signs of physical exhaustion, they were a quiet testament to endless pressures and moments of despair. Every crack told a story of grueling days, struggles that stretched from the early hours of the morning until late at night. Meanwhile, Mia's trembling coffee cups seemed to symbolize even the smallest moments of anxiety, uncertainty, and the ever-changing pace of work. Each little shake of the cup was a harsh reminder of how cold, mechanical routines and countless expectations had replaced the human touch that once filled the company. Carla's ruthless focus on the numbers attitude wasn't just threatening the management style anymore, it was endangering the soul of the company. Her words cast a shadow over the hopes of the employees, and every report and statistic was a sign that a culture of fear had taken over, replacing the valued human relationships of the past. This rigid discipline was slowly wiping out the warmth and sincerity at the core of Sweet Crust, leaving behind a brutal culture of fear where human values once resided. As Daniel took in all these details, he could feel the deep marks left by this dark transformation spreading throughout the company. In Jamie's pained eyes, in Mia's trembling hands, and in Carla's cold orders, he saw how the spirit of Sweet Crust was getting lost, and how dangerous it was to let cold reports and numbers replace humanity. In that moment, it wasn't just an observation for Daniel, it was an awakening, a reckoning. He realized that true leadership meant listening to people's voices and feeling the hardships they faced. And at that moment, Daniel knew he had to take steps to reignite the lost human values of the company. Seeing Jamie crying in the storeroom made Daniel suddenly aware of the deep decay at the heart of the company. Jamie's tearful eyes didn't just reflect his own exhaustion, they echoed the silent screams of Sweet Crust's very soul. In that moment, Daniel realized this was more than just one employee's story, it was a symbol of years of neglect, hopelessness, and fear that had seeped into every corner of the company. Not afraid to face the shocking truth, Daniel stepped back into the spotlight as CEO. He decided it was time to leave behind the cold, distant chair at the head of the management table and personally reach out to every part of the company. With his first step, almost defying the calm before a storm, he began putting plans into action for radical changes to right past wrongs. Daniel visited every branch, connecting with the hearts of the employees. Every look in the eye, every genuine conversation was an awakening for him. Jamie's painful story, Mia's trembling coffee cup full of anxiety, and Carla's ruthless focus on the numbers, orders were no longer signs of an irreversible collapse. They were now the harbingers of a rebirth. Daniel was determined to turn the company's decay into an opportunity for healing and revival, summoning all his courage. With new management policies in place, he started building a structure that prioritized the voices and needs of the employees. Each one of them was like a forgotten treasure, representing the human values that had once been at the heart of Sweet Crust. To create a workplace where fairness, empathy, and freedom would thrive again, he began by having one-on-one meetings with the staff, listening to their pain and launching projects that would rekindle their hopes. Now, managers were going to focus more on people's stories rather than just numbers, letting the cold walls of the office give way to warm, sincere conversations. Daniel's comeback wasn't just about resuming his role as a leader, it was the start of a healing and revival process hidden deep within the company. Every step he took aimed to revive the genuine spirit of Sweet Crust, built on flour, sugar, and hard work. After the dark days, he was determined to light up hope and unity, steering the company's future in a brand new direction. And so, with his return as CEO, Daniel began sowing seeds of hope into Sweet Crust's rotten core, because he knew that true strength comes from touching people's hearts and reminding everyone of the values that had been lost. Daniel, as part of his efforts to heal the decay at the heart of Sweet Crust, deeply felt that any behavior that ignored the company's values was completely unacceptable. After witnessing the pain and hopeless moments the employees had experienced, he knew that no difficulty could remain hidden anymore. With that determination, he decided that the toxic leadership style, which had been damaging the company's soul and draining its employees' hopes, had no place here. Carla, with her ruthless focus on the numbers, orders, and condescending attitude toward the younger staff, had become a dark figure blocking the rebirth of Sweet Crust. Daniel made it clear that he wouldn't tolerate her bullying any longer. It was time to revive the human values and warmth at the core of the company. One of the most crucial steps in this transformation was to eliminate that poisonous influence. To make that happen, Daniel immediately called Carla into his office. In a cold, silent room, without a hint of hesitation or emotional weakness, he told her that such behavior had no place in the company anymore. Every word he spoke was like a decisive step toward reigniting the hopeful spirit that Sweet Crust once embodied. Amid Carla's shocked glances, Daniel irrevocably put his decision into action. He fired her immediately and without debate, putting an end to the decay at the company's core. This step wasn't just about settling scores with one person. It was a cornerstone for breaking free from the shadows of the past and moving toward a future filled with the respect, fairness, and empathy that the employees longed for. With this transformation, Daniel aimed to create an environment where real leadership and human values, not just numbers, were in the spotlight. Carla's departure signaled the start of a new beginning, a promise that new hopes would sprout, employees' voices would be heard freely, and the company would be revived. Daniel, in his struggle to build a new face for Sweet Crust, once again realized how important it was to recognize the potential and efforts of his employees. Especially the sorrow and exhaustion in Jamie's eyes, quietly fighting through his challenges, revealed just how much strength and dedication he possessed. With this awareness, Daniel offered Jamie the role of assistant manager along with the well-deserved raise. This offer wasn't just about more money, it was a symbol of reviving Jamie's inner confidence, hope, and talent, and it promised him the recognition he truly deserved within the company. Now, Jamie was ready to leave behind the tears he once hid in the storeroom and step forward confidently on his leadership path with new responsibilities. Daniel's decision marked one of the most important steps in Sweet Crust's transformation and the move toward a truly people-focused management style. As Jamie began to feel the renewed trust placed in him, he became a shining beacon of hope within the company. Every employee started to receive signals that their own value and contributions would finally be acknowledged, laying the foundation for a more just and supportive work environment. This uplift wasn't just about Jamie, it carried a message to every employee. Each person plays an important role in Sweet Crust's rebirth, and true leadership is measured by the value given to a person's potential and hard work. Daniel launched a sweeping system reform to bring his hopeful vision for Sweet Crust's future to life. It was time for a change that would resonate not only in management reports but also in the hearts of the employees. As he laid the foundations for this new era, Daniel began conducting employee surveys in all the branches. These surveys provided a platform for every employee to freely express their feelings, thoughts, and expectations, giving honest feedback on the company's challenges and potential. They weren't just about collecting data, they were essential for making sure that the employees' voices were heard and their real needs understood. The insights from these surveys clearly revealed where the company's structural problems were coming from and highlighted the employees' desires and expectations. In light of this data, the decision was made to modernize the work environment by switching to a flexible working hours system. Now, employees could achieve a healthier balance with the daily challenges of life, reaching a more efficient and peaceful equilibrium between work and personal life. This new system not only boosted productivity but also rekindled employees' confidence and motivation, positively transforming the overall atmosphere within the company. Another key element of Daniel's reform process was the implementation of comprehensive training programs. With the goal of promoting professional development and unlocking the personal talents of the staff, various courses, seminars, and mentoring sessions were introduced. These programs not only helped employees improve their job skills but also fostered leadership qualities and allowed them to explore their full potential. This innovative approach to education helped Sweet Crust reinvent itself, not just as a bakery chain, but as an evolving, learning, and growing organization. For Daniel, this reform wasn't merely a change in management policy. It was a symbol of re-establishing a human-centered transformation, fairness, and freedom at every level of the company. Every employee survey, flexible working hours policy, and training program brought out the deeply embedded human values of Sweet Crust, transforming the company into a vibrant, empathetic culture beyond cold reports and rigid structures. With these reforms, Daniel planted seeds of hope and renewal throughout the company, firmly laying the groundwork for Sweet Crust's revival. When the new manager Rita stepped in to revive the soul of Sweet Crust, it felt like a fresh breeze had blown through the company. Rita quickly showed herself to be a supportive and inspiring leader who valued each employee as an individual. Her positive approach, combined with the warmth and trust that spread throughout the office, sparked a deep transformation in the company's culture. Under Rita's leadership, the team's potential was taken to new heights. Everyone's voice was heard and every idea was appreciated. Employees were no longer just a number, they became the very lifeblood of the company. Every day, the sincere smiles, open dialogues, and moments of solidarity in the office corridors proved that Sweet Crust was filled not only with numbers but with real human stories. Customers began to feel the impact of this change too. The aroma of freshly baked bread, genuine smiles, and heartfelt customer satisfaction were clear signs that the business was coming back to life. As customers grew happier and employees more motivated, every aspect of the company started to shine with new energy and harmony. Rita's team-oriented leadership not only allowed each person to discover their own potential but also united the whole group around a common goal, leading to hopeful projects for Sweet Crust's future. This transformation in the workplace was like a painter reintroducing color to a canvas. It brought vitality and excitement back to the organization. During this process, Daniel, drawing on the lessons from his own journey, was reminded once again of what true leadership means. For him, the real office of a CEO was no longer the desk in his corner. It was wherever his team was, sharing in their daily struggles and working to bring out the potential in each person. The phrase, "a CEO's real office isn't his desk, it's by his team's side," had become more than just words for Daniel. It was the most authentic reflection of all his experiences, challenges, and hard-won insights. As Daniel witnessed this cultural change flourishing under Rita's leadership, he learned that the company's most valuable asset was its people, the importance of working side by side, growing together, and supporting one another. Sweet Crust became known not only for its delicious bread but also for its warm, genuine, and motivated team spirit. This transformation reinforced the leadership lesson that had been etched in Daniel's heart and laid the foundation for a future filled with hope. During his days as an intern, Daniel came to deeply understand that the business world isn't just about profit-focused, superficial strategies. True growth is rooted in the sense of belonging and commitment that people have for one another. He realized that what really drives a company forward isn't hidden in the numbers, it's the inner love and sense of belonging that blossoms in the hearts of the employees. In the storeroom, amidst the warm atmosphere of the bakery, Daniel observed the tears, sweat, and hopes of the staff, and in each person's story he found a piece of the company's soul. This experience went far beyond just a temporary internship for him. It showed him how important it is for a leader to stand by their team, listen to their voices, and celebrate their successes together. He now understood that a company's journey to growth isn't measured solely by rising profit margins, but by creating an environment where employees feel valued, included, and supported. This valuable lesson left a deep mark on both his personal and professional life. The understanding he gained, which would reshape Sweet Crust's future, proved that the bond he built with each employee, based on mutual trust and belonging, is the key to true success. In the end, Daniel's experience as an intern turned out to be a turning point. He discovered that real growth is not just about financial figures. It lies in the genuine, supportive family atmosphere created when people come together. In other words, a sense of belonging is the most valuable asset that helps companies grow.